to talk to Juliet Kemp. They have written a story for another of the Zombie Needs Brains triumvirate, this time for Brave New Worlds. So let's look at what those Brave New Worlds are. They are described in the Kickstarter, whose link you will find in the description. Humans have dreamed of traveling to the stars for generations. Their hope, to discover verdant new planets where they can build new societies or escape past persecutions. Brave New Worlds will feature 14 stellar stories set anywhere along our prospective settlers' uncertain paths, from the heart-wrenching departure from space, through the unknown dangers of the long flight through the cold vastness of space, to the immigrants' final arrival on an alien world. Will they be confronted by the ethical issue of an entirely new ecosystem, or the pure engineering challenges of terraforming a previously lifeless planet? Join us in Brave New Worlds as we explore humanity's race for the stars. All right, Juliet, what are you what are you thinking about writing, and B, where are you on the writing journey as far as the story goes?
Well, I'll answer B first, in fact, which is I haven't started because I'm superstitious, and I didn't want to start before the Kickstarter was funded.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, my logical brain is not superstitious, but just can't bring myself to. But I have got some thoughts kind of kicking around, one of which is something around generation ships, because I have a real fondness for the sort of idea of generation ships, and the kind of, the idea that you're sort of committing not just yourself to this journey, but people, those who come after you, your children, your grandchildren, whatever, which I guess is true of any kind of like new planet, but the idea of living in a tin can, for multiple generations, I find that really interesting. So possibly something around that. But of course, in general, there are some ethical complications around this idea of, humanity going off and enforcing itself on, brand new planets that we haven't yet screwed up. That's interesting as well. So that's the other sort of set of ideas I've got kicking around.
Oh, that's awesome. And once the Kickstarter has made, or whatever the word is for it, and hopefully it will, and we're not jinxing it. You should knock on plastic or whatever. What will your process be like? Will you noodle around with the idea and do an outline? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotzer? Where do you fit?
By inclination, I'm more of a pantser, but I've been trying to break myself a bit of that, because it's led far too often to me getting like 1,000 words of something, or sometimes with novels like 20,000 words of something, which then completely falls apart. So I'm trying to do slightly better about at least thinking through an idea and getting something that looks a bit like an outline of a story, even if I then go off piece trying to write it. But I tend to start out with short stories, with lots of little snippets, and spend a little while kind of putting snippets together, or just thinking of things. And then before I put more time into writing, like, say 5,000 words, which might turn out to be rubbish, working out how the snippets should go and what I need to fill in around them, and turning that into something that's, I don't know, an outline would be overselling it, got to be honest.
Well, I know that too. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you assemble pieces. So that leads me to a question, which is that this is not your first appearance in a Zombie Needs Brains anthology. And your first, what I think was your first one, it wasn't like your second one, right? It was your first one. Your story, Somewhere Else, Nowhere Else, was in fact shortlisted for the WSPA Small Press Award for 2020. So you've set the bar kind of high. Like, how do you cope with that? Like, how do you deal with the fact, like, oh my goodness, I have to follow up on a really good story?
By trying not to think of it that way, gonna be honest.
I'm sorry. You're like, oh God, Kat.
But no, it was really exciting. That was really thrilling, and surprising. in a good way, but I was thrilled to hear it. So yeah, I'm not going to expect myself to hit that again. I would like to produce as good a story, I guess. I mean, that's always what you try to do, right? To produce a story that's as good or ideally better than the previous one. But I really liked that story as well. I was very proud of it even before it got nominated for anything.
Oh yeah.
In fact, that was I submitted that to the open call for that anthology. It was the Portals anthology, which is one of the nice things about the Zombies Need Brains anthology, that they do have a significant amount of space for an open call. So yeah, I was pleased with the story. I was pleased that it made it into the anthology, and I was really pleased when it got shortlisted. So I'd certainly have to produce something as that I think is as good as that. I guess is the best I can do, really, isn't it?
Well, and I don't mean to jinx you, because actually I know that for me, sitting down and being like, boy, this has to be publishable is already a kind of like, oh God, now I need to go play Stardew Valley for half an hour sort of moment.
It's Zelda for me, but yeah, I hear you.
So we've all got our distractions. Yeah, but I think it's going to be awesome. And one of the things that I really think is very cool about the Zombies Need Brains projects is how many really cool new voices and you're not precisely a new voice because you have novels but I think that right now there is a renaissance for the short story in that there's just a lot more of theme anthologies, which Andy and I were talking about in the last interview. So do you have, I'm going to ask the same question that I asked of him is, do you have a dream theme?
I really like theme anthologies. I like writing for them because I find that they're kind of parameters. Having the parameters, I think, makes it easier to for me to get ideas. I was thinking about this today because I knew you'd asked it of Andy, and then I was petting my dog, and I was like, animals. Actually, I don't think they've done that. Either fantasy or SF, both of those would be good. But yeah, they've done like I think they've done a Where anthology, but I mean like regular animals.
Well, and animal stories are always so good, and there's a lot of really great science fiction and fantasy animal stories. Awesome. All right. Well,
that's a trad, but I'm team dog. I think on this.
Team dog. All right. Do you have a dog? Wait.
Yes, I do. She's called Sydney. She's lovely.
Oh, lovely. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to suggest to people that you go support this excellent Kickstarter, and that if you're a writer, that you take advantage of the open call, because that is one of the things that makes these anthologies super cool, is that it has the open call component. All right. Juliet, any last words?
I think only that one of the stretch goals, once the Kickstarter's funded and is going to stretch goals, one of the rewards at a fairly early level is a free copy of my novella, A Glimmer of Silver. So if anybody wants to read that for free, or for your $7 Kickstarter, then yeah, go forth and fund it immediately.
Awesome. All right. You heard it here, and the description is in the link is in the description, and I should point in the direction of the cloud of text that will accompany the YouTube video. All right. Thank you so much, Juliet.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.